An I-Team update from the South Bay now. The pastor of North Valley Baptist Church in Santa Clara is doing a 180, announcing that he will hold services in the church parking lot until health officials give the green light for indoor services.
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. I wanted to do an update about Pastor Jack Trieber of North Valley Baptist Church in Santa Clara, California. As you could see from that news report, he has decided to hold his services outdoor. Previously, they had been holding indoor services, but they were racking up fines in Santa Clara. And according to this ABC News 7 report, which is where that video was from, South Bay Church moved services outdoors after racking up $112,000 in COVID-19 fines. So you can see why they decided finally they were going to comply with the government there, because they had racked up an enormous amount in fines. Another article here, this is from ChristianPost.com. California pastor moves worship outdoors after county fines church $112,000 for indoor services. The article says the pastor of a 3,000-seat California church said he will stop fighting Santa Clara County and hold services in the church parking lot as per local COVID-19 guidelines after fines rose to over $112,000. The county said it will not forgive the fines. Jack Trieber, the pastor of North Valley Baptist Church in Santa Clara, has chosen to obey the county's directives banning indoor services, according to ABC 7 News. The church was being fined $5,000 for every service it held, as well as fines for other violations such as singing. ABC 7 News reports that Trieber told his congregation in an outdoor meeting this week that senators told him they had given President Donald Trump the pastor's personal phone number if he would be willing to receive a call from the White House, but the pastor said he didn't want to take that course of action. Trieber also reportedly said he has put on hold a campaign that was aimed at flooding local government offices with 1 million emails from supporters. I don't wish anything evil to happen with authorities. Tonight was the right decision to move out here, he was quoted as saying. County Counsel James Williams told the Mercury News that banning indoor services was essential to the community's safety. The reality that churches and other religious institutions across our county were successfully holding outdoor services, drive-in services, remote services, and have been, just completely undermines the notion that they needed to have an indoor gathering and create that huge risk of danger, he said. The county had filed a lawsuit against the church for its ongoing violations of COVID-19 orders, according to Trieber. After prayer, fasting, and counsel, the pastor said, "I have felt led of God not to resist the lawsuit." The county has dropped their lawsuit based upon us moving our service outdoors, he told the congregation last weekend. To me, that's a victory. So as you can see, Pastor Jack Trieber is not one who wants to really put up a fight against the government. Ultimately, he feels it's in his best interest, and really feels it's God's will for him just to do what the county is asking them to do. And it sounds like the county is actually dropping the lawsuit because the church is complying. However, they still have $112,000 in fines that the county has not indicated that they are going to forgive at this point. So we will see what happens with that situation, but that's the update to this point. It just shows you, though, that really everything right now in our country is in flux. We don't know what's going to happen next. We just heard that President Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19. So now our president is actually dealing with the coronavirus personally himself. And so obviously people are praying about that. We should be praying for him. And of course we should be praying for our country as a whole for many reasons. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Really sad to see what happened with this church's situation. Obviously, John MacArthur and Rob McCoy, some other pastors that I've talked about, are continuing in their fight, and they are continuing to hold indoor services in California. I also mentioned recently that Capitol Hill Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. has filed a lawsuit against the mayor of D.C. So even though Jack Trieber's church is taking this course of action, other churches are moving in a different direction at this time, and it's just really interesting to see how it all progresses. But I'll tell you, with what's happening right now with President Trump, it's just a reminder that we do not know what's going to happen. And obviously, we have to balance things out. We want to take the COVID-19 situation seriously enough. We want to make sure we take reasonable and necessary precautions. On the other hand, we don't want to let it control our lives and live in fear. We certainly don't want to allow the government to overstep its boundaries. We want to make sure our rights are protected in this country. So that's just a little update on that situation and some of my thoughts about it. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Just try to keep those comments positive and edifying to discussion. But as always, thank you so much for listening to what I have to say from a Frisch Perspective.